What's up, everybody? It's your boy Sad Nixon, and I'm back at you once again with a fan favorite video. I would say the draft analysis video for the 7th Secret Hitler tournament. Let's check it out. So, this is the video where I find out who was underdrafted, who was overdrafted, who was correctly drafted, how well did Elo do in predicting points, etc. We'll figure it all out in this video. Let's get right into it. So, first of all, here's my comparison of the order that the players got in terms of points and the order that the players got in terms of when they were drafted. So this is showing which players were over and under drafted. I'm going to start with players that were under drafted that really overperformed their spot. And we can see in the diff column that shows exactly how much they overperformed. The maximum overperformance that we saw was from Ilya themselves. And this was a crazy overperformance. Got 14 points. That's awesome, right? Despite being drafted way down there. Drafted 70th and got 14 points. That's crazy. So yeah, great job to Ilya in this tournament. They didn't get Dark Horse because Dark Horse cares about how many points someone got versus, or instead of how much they overperformed per se. But yeah, Ilya, I would say, overperformed the most underdrafted person. Also severely underdrafted are Hobo, also getting 14 points, and Fascism Sucks, who got 17 points despite being drafted 63rd. Right, so these are all people who got underdrafted by essentially over 50 spots. If you go by the assumption that the person who got drafted first should get the most points, person who got drafted second should get second most points, and so on. So yeah, awesome performances from these people. Saxjon also perennial kind of underdrafted player, really put on an awesome performance once again. Got significantly underdrafted once again. So did Z Factor. Good job. And Oaken. Oaken, well known to be a very high Glicko player in my Glicko rating that I use. And yeah, underdrafted, I would say. So maybe listen to that Glicko a little bit. Now, I also wanted to take a look at the players who are most correctly drafted, right? Who was right in the middle? Who did the captains really nail in terms of their proper placement? And if we take a look, Envas is dead center. Yeah, 0 places different, right? Got drafted 17th and got 17th most points. So yeah, good job, Envas. You really gave that dead-on performance, exactly what was expected of you. To the people who were doubting when I drafted Envas, there you go. Envas really put on a boilerplate performance. Also correctly drafted in that area, only a few spaces off, are Medusa and Ashley. Look at that. Real close. Ingenue, Chopin, yeah, pretty much correctly drafted. Chopin is an interesting one because a lot of people thought he got underdrafted, but it turns out he got pretty correctly drafted. Maybe a little bit underdrafted. Andrew also usually gets pretty close to correctly drafted and got close to correctly drafted once again. Look at that. Real close. Maybe a little bit overdrafted, but not that much. So yeah, these people are real in the accurately judged range by the captains. Now let's see who got overdrafted, who underperformed. Oh no. So, yeah, no offense if you're one of these people, but yeah, it just didn't go your way this time. Shiro, Arsar, Skate King, Ambition, Kylador. A lot of people were calling Kylador the new Orami, and in performance, also turned out to be kind of that way. Woa, I love you. You didn't quite perform to your level. 44 spaces overdrafted in terms of performance. So yeah, unfortunate for these guys, but a lot of them did their best, I'm sure. Unfortunately, I'm seeing a lot of for the boys up here, but that's how it goes. That's just how it goes. Yeah. So I won't dwell too much on that. I want to look now at kind of what the correlation is overall between uh, draft order and points. And here's a nice little graph to show that. So this shows on the x-axis draft order, on the y-axis points, and you can see, yeah, there's a decent kind of line there. A good correlation. So that shows that the captains aren't out of their mind, basically. Yeah, I've highlighted some of the outliers here, at the top and bottom. But yeah, people are pretty close to this line in a lot of cases. Yeah, let's look in ELO order just to see how that works out. Okay, yeah, ELO order is kind of interesting. Yeah, but yeah, still seeing a little bit of a good slope here, I would say. A little bit of a slope. Yeah. ELO, somewhat predictive. But let's actually take a look at exactly how predictive ELO and the captains are of actual performance. So I did some correlation calculations here, and I basically found out that the correlation between your ELO and how many points you got, it's about 0.23 correlation. So, there's some correlation there. It's not a crazy correlation, but it's there. And on the other hand, the correlation between the order that you were drafted in and the points you got is a negative 0.43. So that's a substantially higher correlation, right? It's still not the highest, but it shows, once again, just like in previous years, the captains did better than straight ELO would have done in terms of predicting performance. However, I will say that this 0.43 number is significantly lower than in previous years. I think there was like about a 0.6 correlation or a negative 0.6 correlation last time between draft order and points. So yeah, the captains maybe overall did not as well this time by that metric. Definitely still better than ELO, but there were a lot of kind of upset or breakout performances this time, I suppose, that kind of lowered this number. Now I also measured the correlation of the Glicko that I created, right? That's based on tournament results only and points. And interestingly enough, the correlation is negative 0.7. Yeah, unfortunately, that's a little trash. I'm not gonna lie. That's yeah, that actually means it's negatively correlated, just slightly. Yeah, basically no correlation going on there between your Glicko and how many points you got. That sucks. I will say I'm not gonna totally trash on my metric because I think that it's good to use a metric like Glicko that has uncertainty built in, right? Even if a player has a big Glicko, if that goes into my odds calculator that I use, it's not going to generate a huge probability of them winning if their uncertainty rating is high. And that's something that's not being, taken into account in this correlation. But it is being taken into account in the actual odds calculations that I do while the tourney's going on. So even if it wouldn't be a good idea to use Glicko to do your draft, I would say it's maybe still a valid metric to do your simulation. Uh, or maybe it would be better to just go back to ELO or figure out some way of using the draft order to determine, those calculations. I don't know. But yeah, not a great year for Glicko. Last time Glicko was a bit more correlated than this, so yeah, very interesting stuff. Now here I actually sorted each team by the average kind of under or overdraftedness, and yeah, it turns out my team, Realme Nix, actually has the most underdrafted team on average. An average of 11 spots underdrafted. That's kind of interesting. That's probably because we had people like Brucey and Fascism Sucks on our team. Rose Squad had kind of the most overdrafted team, average of 17 points overdrafted. That team didn't go so great. Neither did Worldwide Jeb. But the gap between this, oh god, 5 to 17. That's a big gap. Yeah, I don't know what happened. But yeah, interesting stuff here with the average over underdraftedness. I think the range here from -11 to 17 is bigger than the range that we've seen previously. So yeah, what a year. What a year. Yeah, here we have a graph that shows kind of the distribution of the points that people got. Kind of interesting gap here. Maybe a quirk of how the points are distributed, but yeah, this is our nice graph. And this is our ELO graph, and we can see there's a lot of 2Ks in our tourney this time. Yeah, big spike there at 2K. Looks like campers at 2K, I would say. So yeah, this was the ELO for our tourney. We had a pretty high ELO tourney overall. A lot of 2Ks, not a lot of greens. Not a lot of greens to assemble. And this shows the distribution of over underdraftedness. So yeah, a lot of people drafted pretty much right where they should go. And yeah, cool distribution. Cool distribution. Now I also wanted to find out, because I was interested, how did the trades work out for the teams that did trades? Who did it benefit? Well, I went ahead and calculated what points each team would have if the trades that had happened hadn't gone through. And yeah, here's the comparison. So yeah, up here we have the results if the trades had not gone through. Down here we have the actual results where the trades did go through. And we can see a few interesting things. Number one, for the boys, really just skyrockets up to like second or third, tied for second, really, with 106 points if the trades had not happened. So it looks like those trades did not really work out for the boys. Yeah, that is sad to see. However, the trades did work out at least a little bit for the Rose Squad and the Mob, because yeah, Rose Squad in the scenario with no trades would have gotten a straight last with only 64 points, and the Mob would have gotten only 93 points. So yeah, in the world where there were no trades, we would have beaten the Mob, it looks like. Yeah, they would have gotten 7 less points. However, we still would have gotten only 4th in that world. Yeah, too bad. But yeah, that's what would have happened if there had been no trades. Just thought that would be interesting to see. Sorry, Pingu, your trades were not so good. Maybe, yeah, think about that next time you trade, huh? I'm not a big trading captain. Never been a big trader, but that's just how it goes. All right, fun video. Yeah, I'll see you next time. I'll see you next tourney. This is, I think, my last video for this tourney. Yeah, a little bit late, but always happy to talk to y'all. Let me know if you have any questions at all about my metrics, about how I calculated this stuff. See ya.